Let's talk about birth plans. Some people call them birth plans, some people call them birth preferences list. And basically, what this is it's a list of things that you would like to see happen during your labor process. Now, I like to tell people that it's always great to plan, just like we plan any time we go to the grocery store, right? Even if we don't plan in great detail, we have some idea of what we're planning to get while we're there. I know when my kids were little, I was very tedious about getting my list made. Like I would make a list of meals and then I would make a list of groceries in the order of what the commissary looked like. My ex-husband was military, so it was in the same list of the commissary, right? The same order of the commissary aisles. So that was always helpful. Then I could just keep going down my list. That's how organized I was. But I needed that because of taking care of three kids and life and, all that stuff. But now I'm not as in depth. It's like, oh, let me put a few things on this list and I run to the store. I don't even know the order of the grocery store anymore, except for just the main aisles I hit, like the gluten-free aisle and the perimeters, right? But as far as back to the birth plan, we want to think about what it is that is important to us. And just like a grocery list, you go to the grocery store, you never leave with all the things on your list or you leave with extra stuff. It never goes just like you planned. And no birth goes exactly like you planned. However, having that plan gives you guidance and it helps you kind of navigate through the process of birth. Because when you are thrown curveballs, you're like, okay, well, what was I really wanting? And is this a medical necessity? You can ask yourself certain questions. Some of the most common things we see on birth plans, the first one is to let labor start on its own because of all those benefits. Now, some of the things that would cause you to have to miss that part of your birth plan would generally be medical indications. Like if the baby is IUGR and we're concerned about the placenta and the growth of the baby because the baby's below the 10th percentile, do you see how when you look at letting labor start on its own and the IUGR, how this letting labor start on its own thing just kind of goes by the wayside? Oh, we didn't get to have that this time. That's okay. This is more important now. So then we go on to the next thing. For the next thing, it's usually about monitoring. Like people don't want to be on the continuous monitor, which studies actually show it's best to not be continuously monitored. As long as you're like not on Pitocin or something, it's best to be on intermittent monitoring. Now, there are several things that can increase your risk. And so we would want to put you on continuous monitoring, like if you're doing a VBAC or if you have a velamentous cord insertion. There are several things over there that would change that part of your plan. But in addition, sometimes there's things that we have other alternatives. So some hospitals have mobile monitors or telemetry monitors that you can use. So make sure you ask for that. IVs or not having an IV or having a saline lock is something people put on their birth list because they don't want to be hooked up to a pole the whole time. There are some that don't want the IV at all. And so you can talk with your provider about that. And there are some that just want what's called a saline lock. So you have IV access if and when we need it, but we're not hooked up to anything. And then we next usually talk about pain. What kind of pain management plan do you have? Do you want to get up and move and feel free to move throughout your labor? Do you want to be able to use water or any kind of hydrotherapy, water in the shower or in the tub? Do you want to be able to use a birth ball or peanut ball? These different things are things you could consider putting on your list. The next thing we go to is like, what kind of support do you want your nurse to be when it comes to pushing? Do you want your nurse to be guiding you and coaching you through pushing? Do you want to do spontaneous pushing? That kind of stuff. Let's back up just a smidge and talk about AROM, which is artificial rupture of membranes. Do you want your bag of waters to break on their own, or do you want them to break them for you? Next, we talk about, does the dad want to cut the cord when the baby's born? Do we want to do delayed cord clamping? How long do you want to delay cord clamping? Including in your birth plan, how long you'd like to do skin to skin after delivery, how you would like to be in postpartum. Like, do you want rooming in where the baby stays with you and dad the whole time? A lot of hospitals have gone to that because studies show it's so much better. And even though the idea of sending the baby to the nursery so you could sleep sounds good, studies actually show you get more sleep when the baby's with you. So rooming in or always having a parent with you. But we will have different meetings or different Zoom lives, and we'll talk more in depth about birth plans. This is just a general overview, and there is a link to a little template that you're more than welcome to print out and adjust according to what you want. You can actually adjust it in Canva and yeah, just have fun with it. Make it pretty.